What's up, guys? How you guys doing today? Just to get out there, like, straight off the bat, this is not going to be a regular video. This video is well over an hour and a half long. This is a reaction video of a buddy of mine, Combo. He said, hey, go ahead and react to it. I give consent, and, well, I'm going to do it. It's a free video. I went ahead and recorded my reaction. You guys are going to listen to it here. Hey, if you already watched this video, there are going to be some takes that I think are valid because they're my own takes. Some humorous things out there too that I added in there. He said to roast them, so I indeed did roast them. There is one part that I'm kind of hung up on. It totally doesn't have anything to do with something he ranked that I don't agree with, but you guys will see that if you watch the video, and you should watch the video. It's an awesome one. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. You guys have a good day. All right, boys, let's get started.
Alrighty, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How's it going, everybody? Combo here. Hopefully you're having a wonderful day, and maybe this video can make it better. Today we have the Yap Fest of the Century. We're going to be looking at every single weapon here in Season 8 of the finals and placing them in this lovely tier list we have here. Before I get into this video, I want you to understand the perspective this is coming from. I think it's pretty safe to say, if you haven't seen Hyper's video, and basically what everybody's saying at this point, and if they're not, they're lying to themselves. The finals is taking a very heavy stance on the upcoming majors. I mean, this entire season is themed around the majors, so I don't think that's too crazy of a take to have.
A lot of people are having problems with that. I, however, am not. I mean, the past couple seasons, yeah, okay, fine, they're catering to the competitive audience. This season makes a lot more sense because it's not like they have a $100,000 tournament coming up later this year. So this season, it makes a little bit more sense, but other seasons, maybe not. So, makes sense to me.
So with that said, this tier list is going to focus more on the competitive viability of weapons. I might be a little tough. I think in the past I've been more lenient, like, if you're really good with this weapon, you can... No, we're not doing that this time. I'm going to try...
Riot Shielders.
To be as objective as possible. Understand that I'm not a pro scene player. I watch the pro scene on occasion, but I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Like I said, that's just not my realm. I made it to Diamond last season. That's kind of cool. I did it in 2 days too. We didn't lose a single match, so that was kind of cool. That's my credibility, right? And I've clocked in a lot of time. I've set some really cool kill records on my channel, things like that. So once again, those are my credentials. Check out my tip videos, that kind of shit. I like to lay that out first. Enough yapping though. I'm gonna quickly explain what each tier means. In my opinion, S is going to be overtuned. A is going to be probably, like, not overtuned, but definitely viable in a good place. I always say A is the gold standard. B is, good, but maybe not quite as good as some of your options in A tier. Maybe could use something very small. C tier is niche. I'm going to do that here. I always write it in every single tier list, so that's going to be niche. These weapons can work, but in a general competitive setting, like, you're going to be putting yourself at a disadvantage, let's be honest here. And then D tier is going to be needs a buff.
AKA dog shit. Let's be honest, boys.
Notice that there's no F tier because, once again, I say this a lot, man, even though I bitch and complain about the way Embark has been balancing lately, and I can't lie to you, it kind of fucking kills me. Not gonna rant, though. Overall, man, I think they do a good job. And I want to preface the video by saying that.
I don't know, man. You use a spear in high elo, you're going to get absolutely stomped into the dirt. So that's probably one of the few F-tier weapons in the competitive side of the game. Let's be honest here, Combo.
Trust Embark. They know what they're doing.
Well, he is being honest, but I'm being even more honest. There we go. That's my claim to fame.
I think they're being a little cautious right now and maybe catering to the pro scene a bit, but understandable, right? This is going to be a big event. So I'll shut my mouth until
we are one of the same, Combo. We make a great team.
We talk about the weapons. So with that said, hopefully the parameters have been set. And yeah, let's get right into this list. Okay, so first up here, we have the ARN 220. This weapon came out in Season 6 and really has been a staple of really high accuracy PC players in the competitive scene for a good time now. I don't think it's overtuned. I think it's very good. Honestly, I think this is perhaps one of the most healthy weapons in the game right now. I'm going to stick it right in A tier for a couple of reasons. One, super forgiving with those double magazines. It's good at range. It does get out DPS'd at those closer ranges, but if you're good at your shots, especially if you're playing evasive dash, it's very easy to outmaneuver your opponent and even make that work. The only downside of this weapon is, in my experience, right, on console, even after the changes, the recoil can be a little bouncy. But once again, man, if you really do take the time, something I have not done, I've seen pro players use this thing to a very high degree. Once again, very good weapon, rewarding for the time you take to earn it, and I think one of the gold standard weapons for balancing in this game, hence why it's going to be A tier.
I agree, actually. A little bit less so on controller players not making this a viable weapon. There's guys like Impu out there who absolutely go nutso with the ARN. Um, from my experience, I tried a little bit of controller just to see how it is. I tried to make a screenshot of it in a past video. It sucks. I mean, keyboard and mouse is superior. It's meant to be for FPS shooters. I think everyone can agree on that. But when it comes to this recoil, it's straight up usually, and it was the only recoil I can actually control with controller. So, I mean, it's personal preference, obviously. I mean, I'm more of a single fire kind of shooter with this game, but I do see some controller players going nutso mode with this thing.
Okay.
I have a feeling A tier, this is where basically every single automatic weapon is going to be. You're going to see things that do a crap ton of burst damage in S tier. Maybe things like the sniper, the LH1 especially. There's no way that's not going to be S tier. That's going to be top of the range. Predictions here, people. Predictions.
Okay, next up we have the AKM, the OG rifle for the medium. I'm gonna stick this one in B tier. Not quite A tier in my opinion. I do think it's lacking, mostly in the ammo department. And the reason I say that, this thing has a pretty fast rate of fire, and maybe it's just me, but ever since the nerf all the way back in Season 6, I believe, where they took 4 shots from this weapon, it just doesn't feel as good. I mean, the big issue I run into as well, like, if you're going on just a tear, like, this weapon is better for streaking kills than something like the FCAR, but it's not as good at range. It's not as good at holding angles. The recoil is much more difficult. You're probably...
Its claim to fame is just destroying shields, and with the glitch grenade being in there, it's kind of redundant to have this thing. I mean, if you're only going to use this AKM for breaking shields from a heavy, what's the point of even carrying it? Just have a light carry glitch grenades.
Same, but combo the whatchamacallit, the FCAR kicks really hard in the beginning. You can figure that out. This thing just kind of kicks like a mule. Once again, you can put sights on it and it helps. A lot of people swear by this weapon, but once again, man, generally speaking, if I see a pro using an auto rifle, it's not going to be the AKM.
Well, he said this earlier. He said he didn't really try to invest a lot of time with the ARN recoil. With the AKM, it's a snake. You basically make an S with it. A little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, and then a little bit to the left, and then it evens out about 20 bullets in. It's very minimal recoil, but it's a lot more dynamic compared to the FCAR where it's basically straight up with that jump at the beginning. So overall, the AKM has decent recoil control capabilities if you actually put the time into it. But this man is a sniper goat. I mean, why would you play anything else if you go with the sniper, right?
It's usually going to be the FCAR. Once again, though, certainly not a bad weapon. And if you land your shots, especially headshots, this thing can put out some pretty good damage. So with that said, AKM coming in at B tier. Okay, next up we have the FCAR. Once again, I'm going to stick this one in A tier for kind of what I just said about the AKM. That's why I put them right after each other. FCAR is literally just the AKM, but I think it's better at holding corners, easier to land headshots, and that's the important thing. In a game like the finals where you have a very slow time to kill, you might think that your rifle weapons are easier to use because they fire more shots. It's actually not true, because you actually have to land more headshots with a rifle than say something like, I don't know, a sniper, where you only need 1 headshot, you take that 1 shot. Of course, it's more punishing, but the reward payoff for landing headshots with the FCAR is just so big. Also, the range on this thing, once you level out after those first 4 shots, you can snipe people with this thing, which is a huge advantage, especially, as I said, pre-firing corners with essentially no recoil.
So I agree with him completely about automatic weapons as a whole. When it comes to higher elo play, you're going to see weapons that are much more unforgiving and much more a bit big risk and reward mentality here. There's no way the BFR is not S tier. It's basically the repeater. The repeater, I bet, it's going to be A tier. BFR S tier because it's rose tinted glasses. Realistically, it's about A tier. I have a feeling he's going to put it S tier. There's my prediction for you. But BFR, repeater, they should be an A tier only because of how much potential they carry with good aim. And if you're a pro player in any game, you better have good aim. It doesn't matter what game you're playing. If FPS shooter, obviously. If you're a good FPS shooter player, you have good aim.
Very good on PC and controller.
And he's talking about comp.
Very powerful weapon. If you take the time to learn it, very similar to the ARN, other than the recoil. Very good weapon. Counters just about every single other rifle in the game if you land your shots. So for me, it's going in A tier. Alrighty, and now we have reached the elephant in the room when it comes to rifles on the medium. We have the FAMAS. I'm going to stick this right in S tier. I don't think this is a crazy take. For some reason, this is where we go back to balancing. I don't understand why Embark has kept buffing this thing, but since about Season 3, man, this thing has just gotten buff after buff after buff, whether it's damage or recoil, to the point now where if you stick a red dot on this thing, it literally does not move. Like, there is no bounce on this weapon in the slightest. You can snipe people from range. The hip fire is good at close range. This is the easiest weapon in the game to land headshots with.
The hip fire is a standout.
I'm just gonna put it out there. That is the real reason why this weapon is so powerful. It is the easiest weapon in the game to land headshots, and when you do, even outside your optimal range, this thing just absolutely nukes people.
Personally, I've never been the biggest FCAR fan. I put on a OKP7 site, the Looking Glass for you non-Russian losers. That site is my favorite site of all time. I mean, nothing else comes close. I put that thing on the FAMAS. That's the only time I do good. Iron sites, holographic sites, anything like that, it just doesn't fit well. It's weird. I have a love-hate relationship with the FAMAS. I would rather use any other weapon, but I can still do decent stuff with it. But there's a reason why I'm not a pro player, because I'm not using the best weapons in the game right now.
Like, it's almost like, it almost makes me cringe watching it at pro levels, because they'll see a light turn a corner and they'll flick over and just gone. Like, headshots with this thing are just insane. Very powerful weapon, very good for team shotting. Good ammo capacity, great damage. You really couldn't ask for anything else. So for me, FAMAS, in my opinion, is going to be our first S tier pick. I don't know how they nerf it, and you know, it's hypocritical for me to say, oh, combo, nerf it, because personally, I'm not a fan of nerfing shit. I don't know what they do for this one. I think it's pretty apparent, though, that it's very overtuned. You guys let me know what you think in the comments, but as it stands now, FAMAS is going in S tier.
In general, buffing is always better than nerfing. If you keep things the same overall, it's going to be good in a comp field of view, basically. All comp players, they want a set meta. They want everything to be predictable. In the finals, I don't think that's the right way to go. I think there should be some outliers in pretty much any subsect of the game. A good melee weapon on each class, a good everything on each class. Keep things unpredictable by giving them something crazy going for them. Then that's what makes the finals the finals. Unpredictability is the way to go. That's just my beautiful opinion of mine, though. So leave your guys' thoughts down in the comments.
All right, next up we have the Shack 50. I'm going to stick this one in S tier as well. In my opinion, the big thing with the Shack 50, yes, you're lacking in range. This thing has a lot of damage fall off. But even after the nerf to the Winch Claw here in Season 8, man, if you pull somebody into you, whether that be light, medium, or heavy, you're just going to win. Like, the Shack, you have to try to miss your shots with this thing, especially at close range. Like, there's no excuse at high levels of play not to land all headshots for the most part with this weapon. And it's really tough. There are not many weapons in this game that can out DPS a Shack player who's landing headshots at close range.
Well, here's the thing. I agree with that completely if the meta wasn't gearing towards longer range combativeness. The way I'm seeing this go is this is going to be such a predictable, I guess, way of playing. DMAT has gotten a major nerf, and Heal Beam has gotten a pretty substantial buff. People are going to be running Heal Beam instead of DMAT. Predictability is at an all-time high, which I don't like, by the way, but that doesn't matter. They're going to be playing, they're not going to be playing as close as they used to be compared to last season. They're going to be playing further out because the LH1 got a buff. It's basically Season 4 LH1 all over again. Season 3, I didn't play back then, I don't know. There's going to be a lot of BFRs just because it's a new weapon, not only because it's really good, because it's a good weapon. Who knows, you might even see more revolvers, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more pikes and also FAMASs. This is going to be such a burst damage meta. Sure, the Shack 50 is also great for burst damage, but really, it shines in close range. When you have longer range weapons like the LH1, like a weapon that every other class has, you're not going to see the Shack 50 shine as much as you would have like last season. So S is fine. I would rather give it an A tier just because of the meta switching up a little bit more.
Especially
Shack
on Light, man.
50
There's only one other weapon
Matches
that I think
name.
combos with the Winch better than the Shack, and we'll talk about that later. But man, this
I'd
thing,
say 12,
even though
16.
once again you have the range fall off, because it shoots those 2 bullets, aim in their general direction and you'll hit them. Like, good Shack players who know the recoil can actually contest things like an ARN, like at range, just because the chances of them missing a shot is so low. So,
well, here's the thing. There's 2 shots with it. There's 2. So if you guys are new to the game, you don't know how it's played. Like, if you don't know the ins and outs of every single weapon, here's a little tip for you. The Shack, it says it has 20 rounds on the mag. It's technically 40. It shoots 2 bullets at a time, which is why it's so dominating in close range, because you're most likely going to be hitting those 2 bullets at the same time over and over and over again, which also makes it kind of hard to balance. And that's also why it's extremely tough to play at close range, because they're not both on the rectal, at the center of the rectal. It's a little bit to the side, you know? Both bullets are branching out the slightest bit to where if you're going to play anything beyond 30 meters, 20, 30 meters, which is where the ARN shines the most, you're going to have to angle your sight a little bit so only one bullet can hit the person. your DPS is going to take a major drop off. One, because you're not hitting that second bullet, and two, because of the effective range, the damage drop off dropping big time. So I don't really agree too much with the sentiment that you can't play range with the Shack, but not nearly as well as the BFR, which is 100% going to make a standout appearance in the season. Not in the close qualifiers. They did ban the P90 and the BFR in the close qualifiers for the tournament, for qualifying for the tournament, the big old $100,000 tournament. So we're not going to see it that much, but I guarantee you there's going to be some teams running this bad boy, these bad boys. I assume the P90 is going to be pretty high up here too. We're going to see it not pretty soon. It's going to be at least A tier. Both these weapons are really good, and they should be. They're new weapons. Okay, rant over. Let's get this started.
So in my opinion, Shack 50 is going to go in S tier. Very powerful weapon, and you're going to see a lot of it, I think, this season. Okay, next up we have the M60. Now this is a tough one because this arguably could go into S tier because a lot of pros are using it. However, in my opinion, this season in some of the meta shifts that we're seeing, especially with the healing meta, where once again, we're still in a healing meta. Don't be mistaken because they nerfed healing a little bit. We are still in a healing meta. Because weapons that do burst damage are becoming more and more valuable, weapons like the M60 that need that direct line of sight to really see their full value are going down. So I'm gonna put this in A tier for now. You could argue though, this could definitely go in S tier. That's the big difference between this thing and the Shack, is the Shack has that burst damage because you can combo with the winch. M60, you don't really have burst damage. You have sustained damage for sure. If you catch somebody in the open, I would take an M60 over a Shack, but most of the time, man, people are turtling up with their healing. And once again, M60 is just not going to be able to compete. It's going to lose those duels unless you're at medium range to a Shack. So for that reason, M60 for me, going in A tier.
Okay, so if he's put the M60 in A tier, there's no way he doesn't put the P90 in A tier. I assume the Lewis gun's also going to stick around A tier as well because the Shack is just outclassing them both when it comes to close range. Medium range, they're better, but like I said, like he said, this is a burst healing kind of meta that we have going on. They're going to be hunkering down, turtling up, as he's put it. They're going to be hiding. They're not going to be out in the open. Exactly what he said. I agree with all that. So I think he's right on the money with that. When it comes to the Lewis gun, it has a little bit more range and a little bit more damage per shot, which is why it has like half the magazine basically. So the Lewis gun is going to rank a little bit higher than the M60. Not by much, but it's going to rank higher. And if there's no way the P90 isn't A tier, because if he doesn't put it A tier for the same exact reasons as he did with the M60, then I might have to quit, man. No, I'm kidding. But it's a little different with the P90. Closer range is more valued with the P90. I have a feeling it's going to complement the heal beam meta a little bit more. So it's not A tier. It's not S tier, but it's definitely A tier 100%. There's no way it's anything below A tier.
Okay, next up we have the LH1. And this
S-tier.
one might seem like a crazy take.
No, S tier.
I'm putting this at the top of S tier. This is now the best weapon in the game.
There's no
LH1
doubt.
is now the best weapon in the game. And people are saying, combo, you're insane. So they buffed it by 2 damage last season. They buffed it by 2 damage this season. And let me tell you a little history lesson. Back in the day, okay, LH1 used to be the most dominant weapon in the game by a stupid margin. Now, part of that was because it had essentially no range fall off. We're basically back to pre-nerf LH1 damage, but not range.
I'm crazy, but I think you liked it back then.
However, this thing literally does everything. 2 taps lights, 3 taps mediums. I don't think it 4 taps heavies. But once again, in a meta where healing is super important, with the LH1, you have burst damage at close range, burst damage at long range, the ability to out DPS any weapon in the game, especially after the Pike nerf. Oh my god, this weapon has like no counter now, unless you hit him with a winch. And if they're a good...
Okay, hot take, but I still don't think the Pike is that bad. It's basically the LH1, but worse. Sure, that seems bad, but you got to remember, the Light is a glass cannon class. It has the best weapons in the game. The Pike, sure, it's bad now. Bad. Quote, quote, quote. You guys can't see my fingers, but they're bunny ears right now, moving all over the place. Here's something. It's not bad. There's still some guys like STN, I believe, when he was playing in the close qualifiers, he used the Pike a little bit because it's a good weapon. I think, like he put it, it's a sleeper. I still think the Pike it's not going to see nearly as much use as it did last season, obviously. But it's a good weapon. It's still a good weapon. Not nearly as good as it was before, but it's not trash tier. It's not D. If he puts the Pike at B tier, I'd be okay with it, but I personally think it's A tier still.
Good player, they can play range on you. I'm telling you right now, by the end of the season, this thing is getting nerfed. and I don't understand why they did it.
I don't know if they buffed it for a reason. It's gonna stay buffed at least for half the season. There's no way they nerf it. What's like 2 weeks after they buffed it. This is not the sledgehammer, boys. The LH1 is not the sledgehammer where it gets nerfed in one season. Okay,
Because going back, not to rant,
they like their
it didn't
range
need a buff.
weapons. They don't
Where
like
it was
melee.
before, it was fine. It was completely fine. Nobody needed to touch it.
But that's boring.
But Embark is playing with fire, and they buffed it again.
We like
They
fire.
didn't need to. So welcome back, season 4, season 4 LH1, and yeah, this is gonna be super obnoxious. I'm telling you guys, I'm gonna be labbing this thing. This is gonna be my back pocket sweat weapon. You are going to see a lot of LH1. So in my opinion, LH1 is the best weapon in the game right now.
Frag out. We're
You
excited.
guys just wait. Call me crazy now. You guys just wait. Okay, next up we have the Lewis gun. I'm gonna stick this one in A tier as well. Lewis gun is just a, it's kind of like how the AKM or ARN is to the FCAR. Lewis gun, slower rate of fire, better at range. M60 is like the, the AKM where you have better at closer range, slightly higher damage. It really just comes down to preference. These weapons have relatively similar time to kills. If you like the forgiveness of having more shots with the M60, you can definitely do that. But obviously headshots are going to be more important with the Lewis gun because it has that slower rate of fire. I mean, at the end of the day, headshots are important on both of them. Personal take, I see more people using the M60 than the Lewis gun, but that could just be a preferential thing. I think
Personally, if he's gonna talk about it like that, AKM should probably just go up into A tier. Not a very high A tier, obviously. This thing isn't up with the ARN, but this thing is a close range demon, especially if you hit your headshots. I get absolutely stomped on with the AKM with some decent players, and this is what we're talking about. We're talking about decent players in comp. They're not going to use it because there's better weapons, so that's why it's not going to go in high A tier, because you have the FCAR, you have the FAMAS, you have probably the P90. The P90 I think is still a little better than the AK, only because of its close range competitiveness. But that's in general. In comp, the AK will still be better than the P90, in my opinion, because it's a little bit further range, and the AK has not nearly as bad as damage drop off as the P90. But if he's gonna phrase a Lewis gun, the M60 like two peas in a pod, then the FCAR and the AKM, they're a lot more similar than a lot of people think. It's about a 5 damage drop off, sure, but the magazine is what the AKM shines at, which is why I don't really get why they nerfed its magazine capacity. That's probably why he's putting it down in B tier instead of A tier, which, hey, I'm not saying B tier is a wrong decision, but I'm saying it's a wrong decision. Let's get this party started again.
I think on PC, the M60 is better, just because, once again, on console, it's tougher to maintain that recoil on the M60, but all things considered, Lewis gun is still a very solid pick.
You hold it
not
down,
hurting
brother.
yourself by using it, so for me, I'm going to stick it right in A tier. Okay, next up, we have the minigun, and this is one of the hardest rankings I have on this video, in my opinion.
B.
I don't want to put it, I don't want to put it in A tier, because, as I said, in a healing meta, where burst damage is getting more and more important, and after they nerfed, a big nerf last season was the being able to pull somebody to the winch claw and still have this thing spun up. That did get removed, which does change this quite a bit. I will say,
as long as the winch is still meta, then the minigun is going to be all the way down at the bottom of the barrel, unless they revert that change that he just mentioned.
do see pros use this weapon as a means of swapping if they need to destroy buildings and maybe like cut off choke points, because this thing is really good at defending, not very good at attacking, in my experience. Like, once again, I do see pros using it. I definitely do. But all things considered, man,
specifically,
I'm going to put it in B tier just because, once again, we're going back to the healing meta thing where burst DPS options, and Heavy just got another very good burst DPS option. I think you know where I'm going with that. That kind of counters the minigun really hard because it just can't compete because it has to stay out in the open. So we'll talk about that here in a minute, but that's a big reason. Because of the new weapon on Heavy,
it's common.
I have to take the minigun down one because, you know, the reason to use it, the damage that you used to get, it's just coupled with the healing and the burst damage meta, it's just not as good as it used to be. So for me, minigun, I can see the argument for A tier, but I'm going to stick it in B tier. Alrighty, next up we have the M11. I'm going to stick this one in A tier as well. M11.
If it's a low A tier, I get that, but it's the same situation with in my opinion, with the Shack. This has the best TTK out of any weapon in the game, close range. But that's in close range. I still think the meta, not only is it gearing for burst sustained damage like the LH1, like the FAMAS does, but it's also gearing for longer ranges. If you're pocketing your light and just waiting for him to shine while the other people push, and then that's when you unleash him, kind of like that one scene from the Croods movie. I get that, but I still think light has much more potential with the LH1, with the air, and with literally any other, well, not really any other weapon, obviously, but there are better weapons to use over the M11, which is why if it's at the bottom of A tier, that's fine. But if he's comparing it with the ARN, then I don't agree with that at all.
Is
The
an
ARN is
interesting
better
pick. Actually,
at this meta.
I'm gonna put this. I actually don't really know where to put it. So this weapon is very good. It has a lot of
I should have let him finish.
forgiveness and it has a lot of burst damage. But where you're lacking with the M11 is in the range department.
I should have let him finish. I'm sorry, combo.
And especially as we talked about now, getting in especially like a heavy or medium's face with the new SMGs is much more difficult. So this might be a controversial pick, but I'm going to stick the M11 in B tier just because a lot of the builds are getting more answers to taking out builds in close range. Yeah, this thing does a lot of damage, but man, the range just absolutely murders this weapon.
It's funny. It's not even the damage drop off. Sure, it's not great, obviously. This is the Uzi of the finals. Let's get that thought through our brains. This thing's recoil is absolutely atrocious at the latter half of the magazine. It's a snake like the AK, but on steroids with another group of steroids like testosterone, other what was it? Performance enhancing drugs, PhDs. This thing is loaded to the brim with a bunch of recoil at the latter half of that magazine. And poor little light can't handle that. They're too frail, you know? So I should have let him finish. I'm sorry, combo. Please.
Once again, ton of forgiveness. You don't even have to aim down sights if you don't want to. But we'll talk about later. There's weapons that just kind of render this thing obsolete, in my opinion. Once again, though, I can see the argument for A tier. But as it stands right now, M11, I don't think it needs any help. I actually think it's fine where it is. I don't want this weapon to be too strong because, in my opinion, weapons that are easier to use, I don't think should be necessarily the best. You got to leave room for skill expression. And you could also argue, too, at the same time that skill expression in the finals comes down to team play and positioning more than gunplay, which I would agree with. But anyways, tangent aside, M11 is a very good weapon right now. Not quite where it used to be. Good burst damage, but man, getting close to targets now, especially in a heal meta, is getting more and more dangerous. So for me, M11 is going to be in B tier. Next up, we have the XP54. In my eyes, this is just the better M11. They have similar DPS. The M11 does beat it out. But XP54, you can still use it at range. In my eyes, the ARN and the XP are kind of competing for that slot in A tier, where the M11 is more of just kind of an off-meta pick. If you look at the pro...
I mean, the XP got a little bit of a nerf to where it got its damage lowered by like 1 point. I think that this was last season, I'm pretty sure, midway through last season. It was some very long ago. But it got its rate of fire increased, which I believe increased the recoil a little bit, but it doesn't really matter because recoil is easy. The only reason why he's putting this in S tier is because of the recoil. Like, this thing is basically the M11 with slower fighter rate, but more recoil. That's basically how it is. But no, with less range, but less recoil. So it's better at what you guys know what I'm saying. You guys know what I'm saying. I'm going to stop
as well. I don't really see pros using M11. I do see them using ARN and XP though, and some other weapons that we'll talk about soon. But overall, XP in my eyes just kind of a better M11.
Well, the XP is basically the AK for the light class. The ARN is the FCAR, and then the XP is the AKM. So I feel like it should be B tier because it has more ammo. Technically, it has 4 more mags, 4 more rounds in the magazine. But that taped mag or whatever it is, COD brain there we go. That's what makes the ARN absolutely an absolute menace, bro. It's insane. It's crazy at range, dude. It's probably the best in 20, 30, 40 meters. If you weren't accounting for the LH1 and the FAMAS, if they're a decent player, which we're talking about decent players here. But XP, I think, should be B tier if AK is in B tier. If AK is still in A tier, like if it was up here, then it makes sense for the XP to be there. They're basically 2 Ps in a pod. They're not basically 2 Ps in a pod. You know what I'm trying to say, though. They're not carbon copies, but you can see the equivalent across classes. That's what I'm trying to get at.
The big advantage you're getting is, yes, you are sacrificing a slight bit of damage. However, you are making up for it in the range department. So once again, M11, most burst damage, medium burst damage for the XP, least amount of burst damage for the ARN, but easiest headshots, moderate headshots, toughest headshot. You see what I'm saying? So anyways, rant aside, XP is going to be A tier, definitely a solid weapon, and you're not going to be hurting yourself by using it. but let's be honest, you're gonna hurt yourself by using anything that's not the LH1. Okay,
I
next up
agree.
we have the SR84. I'm gonna stick this one in B tier. Sniper. Okay, so here's the thing, right? This is gonna sound super egotistical. I should make 2 different like rankings.
Okay, that's not egotistical. How do you spell egotistical? Put that in the comments below, please.
Rankings for this, and this goes back to how I used to do it in the past, where I was like, if you use the sniper this way, it's really good. Let's be honest here, guys. Sniper just does not have enough sustained burst damage. It has burst damage, not enough sustained though. It is very valuable at getting a pick on light targets. However, light players who are good at the game, they're just not going to give you an angle, man. I'm telling you right now, they're just not going to. I have adopted an aggressive sniper playstyle, which can actually be super good and is actually like people have called for nerfs based on like the sniper playstyle that I use multiple times because it's like in your face, almost using it as like a slug shotgun rather than a sniper, especially after travel time, man. Watch my sniper guides if you haven't, if you want to learn how to do that. Because this weapon has travel time now, good luck using it as a sniper, and also because at high levels of play, nobody's just running out in the open, and you're not sitting in the back of the map trying to snipe people. It's not terminal attack anymore. So,
So I'm going to take his word for everything he said about the sniper, mainly because he's played a lot more sniper than I have. I've been dipping my toes in it a little bit, but I'm playing it in a more unconventional way with grapple. Grapple, sniper, H infuser. There we go. That's the meta right there. Trust me, bros. So I don't really have much of an input on the sniper. It's a lot of fun, and it's one of those weapons you want to be good at, but you're just not because you're too bad. That's what I'm in the boat of. I'm trying to get better at it, and I am getting better at it. But he's still better than me. So I'm just going to take his word on this one. I see his points, but I would love to hear arguments on the opposite side of the aisle there. So,
anyways, rants aside,
on this video,
sniper's good. It has burst damage, but not sustained burst damage like some of these other options, such as the LH1, and you are going to get outdueled. If you don't land that headshot every single time, you are going to get outdueled. So for that reason, sniper for me is going to be B tier. Okay, next up we have the BFR Titan. And this has been the elephant in the room. I don't think it's S tier. I want to make that very clear. I do not think this weapon is S tier, but I am going to stick in A tier because this weapon...
Let's hear him out.
Here's the thing. This is kind of the same opinion I'll have on the repeater. In a lot of ways, they're essentially the same weapon. The Titan has some good hip fire, so if you practice it, it can be very good at close range.
That's not a hot take, by the way. Even if you're not crouching before you take the shot, it still has decent enough hip fire if you're within a couple meters. Sure, if you're outside, let's say they're 5-10 meters away, you're not going to hit those bullets consistently. So if you're in a pinch, you're up in his face. Like, let's say you get winched in, you can easily hip fire headshot heavy, and then there you go, you win the fight, essentially, unless they have a Shack or another BFR Titan. But the hip fire isn't as bad as some people were making it out to be. I think it's one of the best guns in the game. But I'm going to hear him out before I say anything rash.
Also,
I don't want
another included this in my video, but I found a way to make it basically 100% certain that you land a headshot.
Oh, there you go then.
After pulling somebody with a winch, which allows you to one-shot lights, so you have really good range, one-shot capability at close range, wonderful burst damage potential, and because you have 5 shots, if you land 2 headshots with this thing in any gunfight, like, it's just, you win. Like, just straight up, you win. It's like the sniper.
Why is not us?
However, you don't have...
If he says it's because if you miss a shot, you suck, you're out of the fight. These are the best players in the game on the scene. They're not going to be missing. So that's my argument.
That big scope, it has good hip fire. You can shoot it while you're reloading. This weapon really has it all, but it goes back to the fact that, like, if you don't land a body shot and you miss your shot, oh Lord, especially if there's 2 opponents, you don't have the mobility that you need on the heavy. Of course, if you're getting healed by your teammates, this is obviously made up for. But this weapon has one of the highest potentials in the game, but because its ease of use is not very high, like the
best players in the game, they're practicing for it, man.
This weapon has a very high skill, very high skill ceiling. I don't think it's quite S tier. So for me, we'll see how this goes.
He says it's a very high skill ceiling, but the people with the highest amount of skill are using this bad boy extremely effectively. Look at some of the clips online. Hey, I'm not saying his opinion's wrong, but my opinion is more right, okay? There we go.
This could go up or down a tier depending on how the season shakes out or what Embark decides to do with it. But overall, I would say the Titan is A tier. Next up, we have the double barrel.
I said my piece. I don't want to rant on it a little bit more. I think the BFR Titan is next to the LH1 on the best guns in the game. If you're a good player, if you're a terrible player, if you're like me Or like I say I'm above average. I think I'm in the 60th percentile. I'm not too good. I'm not too bad. I'm still hitting some good shots with the BFR Titan. I have some clips that I'm quite proud of. And I'm not a very good player. I'm not the best player. I'm not the worst player. If players that are better than me are hitting more shots than I am, like I'm hitting probably 3 shots out of the magazine. If they're hitting 4 shots, even if they're missing 1 shot, I still think it's minimum high A tier. This thing is so good that, dude, if you're a good player, if you're a really good player, you're practicing this game, you're playing this game 4, 5, 6 hours a time, you're streaming it, you're making money. There's more incentivized. You're more incentivized to play the game to get better at it. There's no reason why you should be missing. Well, that's probably a hot take. I can see how that's a hot take, but I don't agree with my man combo here. This should be S tier with the Shack. If anything, the Shack and the BFR should be swapped.
I'm going to stick this one in A tier. The only reason this isn't an S tier is because most of the time, if you're fighting a competent team, you're going to die. You're going to trade. That's the thing, right? At those super high levels of play where people are like sweating through their seats, getting a kill and not trading with the 1900 is going to be very difficult, especially with the shotguns and close range options that we have now. It's getting even tougher to challenge both heavy and medium at closer range. This thing is a light deleter. Like, I was telling you guys about the M11, how there's weapons that do close range damage better if that's what you want. The double barrel is that option. Being able to 2-tap heavies is insane. Of course, healing can counter this, but once again, the burst damage you get is nuts. Even if you are trading, that's still better than the M11, where you have to aim, get close, think about what you're doing. Double barrel, you just run in, shoot 2 shots, 2 hip fires, and then run away.
It's a very brainless weapon, in my opinion. I'm so disappointed that he didn't decide to nerf this bad boy. It would have helped the comp side of the aisle too. Well, not really, because the LH1 is so good. Light is going to be playing much further back, even though we're still in the healing meta. The Infuser is going to see some more use. I don't see any reason why the H+ Infuser isn't out of the meta, but the Heal Beam is back in it, because not just for its buff, because of the DMAT's nerf. The medium is going to be sticking close to the heavy a lot more. It's going to be back before Season 7, where light is going to be playing off a lot more than the medium was. The medium was playing so off with the pike in Season 7. It wasn't even funny. I didn't laugh one bit. Maybe a little bit. But we're going back to the roots of light playing off with a longer range weapon, like the sniper, in this case the LH1. Medium's going to stick by the heavy side with the heal beam. I like that kind of style, but I also think they're not going to be playing as far off the lights are, because sure, the healing infuser got a bit of a nerf. 1 hit point it's noticeable. I've used it and it is noticeable, but it's not bad. It's still, in my opinion, a border. If it's not S tier, it's borderline S tier. It's still good enough to be in the arsenal of some pro players. But of course, that's just my expert analysis on another analysis of someone who's analyzing. That's a word, trust me. The team composition and the pro scene of the finals.
Right? It's just, the burst damage is insane, and because you have 2 shots, to me, that's enough sustained burst damage. So for me, double barrel is going to go to A tier. I wouldn't recommend running around with this weapon all the time.
I would say B tier only because we're playing a little bit longer range. Swap that. You're playing longer range. They're going to see you coming a mile away unless you're, I don't know, Neon Guts and you're just a god. Hey, if you played ranked, man, I bet he can get pretty far up there. You never know. With his unconventional methods, bro, maybe you could afford to see him play. But that's just my 2 brain cells finally
generally
merging.
Speaking, right, it is a wonderful weapon to have in your back pocket. So for me, once again, double barrel is going to be A tier. Next up, we have the P90. This is the new option for medium. I'm going to stick this one in A tier. Wonderful ease of use, pretty good damage. You are lacking in the range department, but because the heal beam did get buffed, this is going to incentivize those heal beam players to stick next to their teammates. And because both the shotguns on medium, let's be honest here, aren't the best, I think this weapon is going to swap a lot of people's loadouts. I don't think this weapon's OP. I think a lot of people say that right now because we're seeing a ton of them. But overall, man, very powerful weapon. Highly recommend you giving it a try. And once again, I don't think it needs nerfed. So not a whole lot to say. Good ease of use, good damage, good mag capacity, and fits the healing meta. So for all those reasons, I'll stick it in A tier.
Hey, I've been disagreeing with combo a solid amount this video, but that is a brilliant take on this weapon. Every now and then, I think I showcased a couple comments on my P90 review video, whatever you want to call it. People are gooning over this weapon. People are hating on this weapon. It's really bad. It's really good. Blah, 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 blah. It's middle of the road, but it has crazy potential in the right hands. So everything this man, this beautiful man has said is good because I also said it. And
Next up, we have the
it.
Matter. I'm going to stick this one in B tier. This is a hot take. A lot of people might disagree with me.
I don't. I love the Matter. It's my favorite light weapon in the entire game. It's my pub stomper when I want to play some click cash where I go like 15-3 with it with a grapple, do with a grapple. Holy, it's so much fun. But this thing, sure, it has a higher skill ceiling, but when you are at the peak of that skill ceiling, it's still not good enough to compete with some of these other weapons here. Well, first of all, it has the same situation with the double. I should probably let it finish, but I'm on a rant. I can't stop now. It's on the same pattern with the double barrel. You have to be up and close. There's a little bit more range with the Matter, sure, but not a crazy amount. Like, let's say the LH1 sees you coming away, bam, bam, headshot, headshot, you're dead. You're dead. So I can see where it can be good, but it's still good, just not on the comp side.
On this one, and
It's
I understand why. The
the
sustained burst damage on the Matter is good, but I don't think the burst damage is high enough, right?
Nope.
The double barrel can get away with it because you can one-tap lights. You cannot one-tap a light with the Matter unless you hit a quick melee, and if they're using a double barrel, which more than likely they are, you're going to lose that fight. You know, that's kind of the thing, right? I could definitely see this thing going in A tier. You have perfect hipfire accuracy, perfect inner accuracy, but overall, man, especially once again with these close range options, not being able to immediately just snap and kill your opponent is getting more and more punishing. So for that reason, Matter for me has moved down from A to B. Let me know what you think about that one in the comments.
I mean, there's a community in this game that swear by the Matter like crazy, and I see their points. It's a really good weapon that isn't seeing a lot of use, but there is a reason why it's not seeing a lot of use, because it's just not good enough. I want it to be good enough. It's a lot of fun to use, and it'd be a lot of fun to see people absolutely style on other kids, just jumping, bunny hopping all over the place, absolutely styling on them, you know? It's like that one scene from that one spin-off Cars movie where Mater's in Tokyo, right? There's this one show-off drifting around him. Next thing you know, Mater beats him in a drag race. Oh, yeah, I love Mater. Anyways, yeah, the Matter's good. It's not good enough.
So
there we go.
Next up, we have the Cerberus, and this is kind of the same thing, man. Just, you know.
No, I think I love the Cerberus. I've been using it on stream. I think it's D. I don't even think it's B tier. So Cerberus is a lot of fun to use against lights, but in mediums to an extent if you're hitting every single pellet. But against heavies, bro, the heavy has to be really bad the game for them to not kill you with this thing. Against lights, you win as long as you're within 5, 6, 7. Anything beyond 10 meters, you're a little bit tricky. You're gonna have to play a little bit more movements to try to dodge their shots. But like he was saying, this is the same situation with the Matter. Dude, I should really let him finish, but who cares? It's the same situation with the Matter where you don't have that range to play off of. Well, I guess you kind of do with the Matter, but not so much the Cerberus, which is why it should be lower than the Cerberus. Well, you know what I'm trying to say. Oh well. So the SH12 is just going to two-shot the Matter or the Cerberus user, but then again, the Cerberus can also two-shot the heavy or the light. So I guess I can see why he puts it in B tier. It's not niche. I don't really think it's niche because there is a pretty obvious skill ceiling. You just aim better. There you go. You're good. I still think it's D. I think it has
looking
no
at things like the P90 where you have a bit more range. Cerberus did get a buff where you can get rid of gas and goo in one shot, which is a nice quality of life change. But
sure, but then you have to put the KS in B tier too if you're gonna put utility in it. If we're just looking at the damage, then the Cerberus just doesn't.
But nothing crazy. The big advantage you have with the Cerberus is being able to delay health regen with its burn effect. I think that goes overlooked. And it probably goes overlooked because if you receive healing, it kind of counteracts it. So there's also that. Cerberus just doesn't do as much damage as he used to. I'm okay with that. This is kind of the double barrel equivalent for the light or for the medium.
Hey, I'm not saying that it's a bad weapon. I'm just saying it's not good for comp. Let me get that straight. I love this weapon. I've been using this a lot in streams. Same thing with the Matter. I love both of the weapons. They're a lot of fun to use, but they're just not good enough for comp.
Rather, once again, I don't want to see this weapon really get buffed anymore. It's very easy to use. It's fun, not meta defining, and that's okay, man. So for me, Cerberus is going to come in at B tier. Next up, we have the model. I'm going to stick this one in B tier as well.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, I could definitely see
both should be
an
D tier
argument for the model going
into
A
a little bit more
tier.
range.
if they didn't just buff the repeater. Because now in my eyes, the repeater does just about everything the
Since the conception of the repeater, it has always been better than the model. The thing is literally just a pre-nerfed season, whatever it was good in, because I haven't played that long to know. It's better than the model in every way. It just has sanguine. There you go. Just has sanguine. It got a buff to where it upped the ammo capacity. The two main issues with the model is damage, and it's absurdly clunky trash. Why is it even like that reload? The reload is the worst in the game by far. Well, I did say the BFR Titan was the worst in the game by far, but they're both bad. The BFR is bad for its own different reasons, but with the animation, you flip the empty shotgun shell up and you put it in that weird reserve spot for some reason, and you don't put it in the barrel. Just make that be one round. Make that be one round, and then there you go. It's fixed. You have another round just like that, and you can cycle fire just like you do with the BFR. I don't understand why that's so hard. Because, dude, never mind. Before I get a little angry, I might as well just say D tier, D tier. There we go.
The model does, but a little better. The big advantage before, with running the model at those high levels of play over the repeater, was your time to kill on heavy targets. But now that the repeater kind of got a buff, and repeater can land headshots, whereas something like the model can't, they're both very punishing weapons. You're getting a lot more range at the repeater. You're getting more, funny enough, you're getting more burst damage with the repeater than you are the model now. Once again,
repeater, if he's got, I think repeater is borderline S tier, but not quite S tier. The repeater is better than the model in every way, down to the ammo, the reload, the damage, the headshot damage, the range. It's better than the model in every single way. I don't see an argument to where the model should be picked over the repeater. I guess for hip fire, sure, but just hit your shots. Get good, kid. I don't see the argument where the repeater is not better than
at close range. With the repeater, the model is actually a very good option to have in your.
Oh well, he just literally said what I just said, except he said in a much nicer way. Get good, kids.
Pocket, but overall, right now, especially with those close range options, I got to give the model a B tier pick. Next up, we have the SA-1216. I'm gonna stick this thing right in S tier. Coupled with the winch claw, I'm gonna be very brief about this. This weapon is still fucking just, I don't understand how it is in the spot that it is. Coupled with the winch claw, there is still zero counterplay. If the heavy player knows what they're doing and they hit you, you're just dead. Even on medium, there's not, unless they get healed. Hitting a winch claw on a medium with this thing, they're dead. Even on heavy targets, if you're landing your shots, this weapon still has one of the fastest time to kills in the game. The Titan can beat it, believe it or not. If that person lands headshots, but let's be honest here, man. I mean, the chances of that happening when you're fighting a 12-16 player is just, it's not gonna happen. This weapon is still popular for a reason. This weapon has always been meta. It will continue to be meta. And all things considered, man, it's just, I don't know. Embark just likes this thing. I think there's a bias here for the SA-1216. So for those reasons, 1216 is going to stay S tier. You're going to see this thing a shit ton in the pro tournaments. So that's where I see it at.
I agree. I don't think it's as much. They didn't really nerf it. I don't think they actually nerfed it at all. I don't think they tuned it at all coming into season 8. It's still S tier. Like, not, there's no doubt about that. But it's not as S tier because of the longer range playstyle that Light is now adopting. A little bit more so. And then it's a little better, especially with mediums becoming a lot more hip to hip with the heavy, so you can immediately destroy the healings, the healing for the heavy, and then there you go, you win. But I don't know. I want to stay. It's just as bad as the other shotguns, but it's very clearly not. It has like what? It's like 90 damage per shot. Bang, 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 bang. There goes the heavy, and then you cycle it for another 3 magazines inside that magazine, dude. This thing is absolutely insane. There's no comparison to all the other shotguns. It's its own beast. It also got a little bit of a nerf indirectly with the winch getting its cooldown reworks, which still doesn't affect the practice of this weapon. So the weapon itself is still God tier. The winch getting nerfed a little bit kind of affects it, but not by a lot. So there you go.
Next up, we have the KS-23. I'm going to stick this one in B tier. And you're probably saying combo, but it got buffs and it's whatchamacallit, it's hit scan.
If you guys saw my video, one of my first videos about this bad boy, it's a 7 out of 10. It's a 7 out of 10. It's fun to use. It's not good, especially when you're going up against players who know what they're doing. If this thing had like 100, if it had the same damage as the BFR, Holy crap. The BFR is in the game, there's no reason to run to KS. So if you're looking at it from that standpoint, KS, D tier. Simple as that. But because it does break walls, there's more utility than the BFR that the BFR doesn't have. That's where I could see it's a little bit higher, but the KS being, I don't know. Let's just hear what he says,
And
and
it can break stuff,
we'll
but
put more opinions on it.
guys, BFR does everything the KS does, but
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I learned my lesson, guys. I'll let him talk. Okay.
better. You know how people were saying for the longest time, like, hey, what if we gave the KS-23 headshot damage? Well, they did. They just made it into a new gun that does everything it does better, other than destroying environments. But let's be honest here, like on heavy, there's so many other options to destroy shit. And if you want to destroy a wall, you're taking up 2 shots and you only have 6. So once again, man, I think the Titan does everything the KS-23 does, but better.
Then why is this not in D tier? Well, putting in a B tier gives it a reason to be picked in the first place. But he just said, like, there's so many other options to destroy stuff in heavy that the KS just doesn't do nearly as well. And if it's overshadowed by the BFR in every other way, why is this not in D tier? Just put this thing in D tier.
It 2-taps lights, so does the Titan. It can't do headshots. It sucks on heavies. The Titan's better at heavies. It's better at long range. I could go on forever. I want to see this weapon be better. And here's the biggest kicker, man. Because the KS-23, for some reason, still has bloom when you're aiming down sights. So even if you have perfect aim.
It's the same. I was about to say I did not know that, but I did. It's the same issue with the Deagles, which is another weapon I'm interested to see how he goes about it. It's the same issue with the Deagles. The bloom isn't that bad. I see people say that's pretty bad, but it's only atrociously bad when you're out like 40, 50 meters. And at that range, the hit scan is going to be more of an issue than the bloom itself. That doesn't mean it's not bad. It just means it's I don't think it's as prevalent of an issue as what combos make it out to be. But hey, maybe he's going to say that, and I just interrupted him again. We'll see.
There is still a small chance that your shot won't hit because RNG. So for that reason alone, reliability of this thing, in my opinion, is still in the shitter. So for those reasons, KS-23 going in B tier.
Just put it in D tier. Just put it in D tier.
I do have a cool gameplay video coming out with it, though, that showcases just how oppressive this thing can be if you're getting pocket healed, but I guess that's kind of any weapon. So for
No comment on that one. It's totally not finished and waiting to be rendered or anything.
that reason, KS-23 is going in B tier. Next up, we have the V9S, and you can argue this thing to go into A tier, but I think there's a weapon that just kind of does what this thing does better. We'll talk about that. So B tier, I'm going to do V9S. This thing
Totally not talking about the weapon that's coming up next or anything. This thing
has a
we're
counter
gonna let it finish.
that does everything it does better except for close range damage. And as we've established, similar to the M11, V9S and M11 are actually very close in terms of killing targets in close range. The double barrel just does both of what these things want to do better. Now, to be fair, you can use the V9S at a longer range than the M11 and the double barrel. However, ease of use, right? This weapon can be relatively punishing if you miss your shots, and it's kind of like the jack of all, master of none. It's not great. I mean, it's good at close range. It's not great. Double barrel's better. So is the M11 in my opinion. It's better than the double barrel and the M11 at longer range, but not as good as the XP. You see what I'm saying? So for me, V9S is going to stick in B tier because there is just a better option.
Which is what he's about to talk about, but we're going to interrupt him yet again because that's what I do. The V9S, for me, the biggest strong suits, it's not the 40 base damage, 60 headshot damage inside its optimal range. It's the reload and the ammo capacity. The reload is absurdly quick. And the ammo capacity, that's 20 rounds in a pistol, bro. That's a lot of ammo. The amount of shots you can get out per second, well, the amount of damage you can get out in each magazine is pretty good. It's probably one of the best in the game, honestly. Its range, they just buff the optimal range, like, threshold, like, if they raise the damage range of this weapon, this thing would be a standout. I hate that the 93R is better because I have a sweet spot for the V9S. I still think it's good. It's not better than the 93R, obviously. He's going to say everything that I'm about to say, but I'm still probably going to say it before he does, like I've been doing. But yeah, I have a sweet spot for the V9S. I agree with his take on this one.
Next up, we have the 93R, which is the better option to the V9S.
It's S tier. They didn't tweak it. They didn't change it at all. Why is it not S tier? He better switch it up.
In my opinion, of course, the V9 will beat the 93R at closer range, but being able to 2-burst a light with the V9 or with the 93R is actually so good. Like, you kind of have to land a headshot with the V9S to be competitive against the 93R. And also, Even though they've nerfed it, please Embark, leave this fucking weapon alone. I love my 93R, man. Please Embark, leave it alone. Because the 93R is so good at range, like this thing outranges the XP. The only thing that beats the 93R in terms of weapons that aren't the sniper and the bow, and the LH1 of course, which does everything, is gonna be the ARN. And even then, I've actually outranged ARN players at their max range with the 93R at pretty high levels of play. So what I'm saying is 93R is more reliable. V9S is gonna beat it at close range. This thing I've actually, once again, it does this is kind of the master of all kind of category other than close range, which even then it's not bad. I just think the hip fire sucks. That's really about the only downside. So for those reasons, 93R is gonna be in A tier.
Dude, he didn't say why he doesn't think it's S tier though. I think this thing is S tier, and I feel like you're gonna see this thing a lot in pro teams as well. You saw it a lot last season. You're going to see it a lot this season too. I think it's S tier. They didn't really do anything to it that really warrants it to be knocked a whole letter grade. This thing isn't better than the LH1. It's the same thing with the Shack. If he's going to put it in S tier, it's on the bottom of S tier because there is a better option. But it's still really good. So I don't really know why he switched it down to A tier. You're going to see this thing a lot, especially in tournaments. You're going to see it a lot.
Okay, next up we have the R357. Underrated weapon. I'll say that right now. I want to put this thing in A tier, but once again, going back to the buff that just happened.
I'm going to interrupt him. The fact that he's putting this side and side with the Cerberus, the KS, and the minigun. This doesn't make any sense. This thing isn't A tier, sure, but it's not. It's definitely not supposed to be alongside these doofuses of weapons here. Like I said before, I love this gun, that gun, and I've never used that one, so I don't know if I love it or not. I don't even like this gun, but I know it's better than all these three guns. So this thing does not deserve to be alongside these absolute crappers, man. These absolute doofuses down here. So let's let him complete the sentence. So
I gotta put the repeater above it, man. Now I will say, even after the buff to the repeater, the 357 is going to be better at fighting heavies. However, because the Titan exists, you're going to get outranged by the bigger, the BFR.
That's the biggest problem with the revolver. It's not, I think I mentioned this in another video. Sanguine said that this thing, Embark didn't want them to make a pocket sniper, which makes sense, but then they add the BFR Titan, so I see why he's upset, obviously. This thing is still extremely good in close range. This thing is better than it's basically the LH1 in close range, except it doesn't have half its magazine. And I think it has slightly fire rate, the LH1 does. That if you're hitting headshots and even just body shots with the 357, whatever you called it, the revolver, you're going to be killing a lot of players very quickly. So I honestly, I'm leaning more towards A tier than B tier. There is no way you put that alongside the KS23 combo. What is that? What kind of take is that?
The big fucking.
Is it amended? No, it is not amended. Oh, he just put the
revolver. You're gonna get outranged. That's kind of the downside now. Now that heavy has that option that isn't the KS23, and they can actually hit you consistently, it just takes 357 down because the BFR just stomps on it. On a heavy, you have more damage, more health. Granted, once again, BFR is punishing, but let's not sit here and lie. The revolver is also very punishing to use. So for those reasons, man, I want to put this weapon higher. Had the repeater not gotten buffed, I would have maybe kept this in A tier because if you're landing headshots very similar to the Titan.
It shines in close range. The repeater shines in mid range. So sure, it affects the revolver, but not nearly as much as he's letting it out. As much as he thinks it is. I haven't played with either weapon a crap ton, but I still think the revolver has a place in comp only because, if anything, it's a niche, but it's not a bad niche. It's a good high niche because this thing's potential is crazy. This thing, like headshot, body shot, heavy, they're dead, and you still have 3 more rounds. If you have crazy good aim, if you're the Josh, then you're gonna go nuts, man.
The 357 has a very fast time to kill, like very fast. But man, once again, it's just unfortunate, man. BFR is just kind of stomping on its toes. For those reasons, right? 357 is gonna end up in B tier. Next up, we have the 50 Akimbo, and these did just get nerfed. I don't know why. Like Hyper said, the Embark Executioners are out here just slashing kneecaps for no reason. but I'm gonna stick in A tier either way.
I want to say something, but I haven't seen anyone else say it before. But we're gonna see if he says it.
A lot
I'm
of
gonna
people
give
are
him
saying right now that
benefit
the
of the doubt
Titan
real
does
quick.
what the Akimbo does, but better.
Yep.
I would argue and say that they fill completely different niches. That's just my opinion.
Not completely different, but
50
different a
Akimbo
little
are
bit.
still very forgiving.
Just a little bit.
They can still 2-tap lights to the head. They will out DPS a Titan, but if the Titan player is playing cover more efficiently, it is going to beat the Akimbos. Akimbos are better at close range, not quite long range. Obviously, the Titan is that's where it reigns supreme now. But once again, Akimbos are just going to be more forgiving. Additionally, Akimbos do have a little bit of bloom. So on occasion, you'll be aiming at targets and your shots will not go, where you want them to. But overall, man, still a very powerful pick. Overall, I would say not S tier, but once again, both the BFR, I think, and the Deagles, you could argue, could be S tier. Really just comes down to the team comp and the playstyle and the map. That's another big one. So that's another thing too, not to go on a rant, but why these tier lists are very subjective, right? Because there's so many factors in the finals. I talked about this before, how I don't even see cash out as really a competitive game mode in general. But once again, side rants aside, we'll keep that for another video. 50 Akimbos for me are going to solidify their place rightfully in A tier.
So he didn't mention the issue. He kind of touched on Bloom, but I'm really hoping this is a situation with a Pike and its headshot damage being a glitch. There is a noticeable amount of extra bloom when you're shooting, at least ADSing. I kind of feel it with hipfire, but I'm not too certain on that. I'll have to make a whole different video talking about it instead of just gooning like I did with my last Eagles video. We'll be actually discussing on this problem. It'll probably be short. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But the bloom, the ADS of bloom is noticeably, it's been noticeably increased. I don't know if that was in the patch notes. He would have mentioned that. I feel like. Dude, I keep saying I gotta look at it, but I've only looked at it once, the patch notes. But the bloom has been increased to, it feels like it's been increased by like double. Not the first shot accuracy, but the sustained bam, 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 bam. It increases, obviously. I showcased that in the Deagle video. But dude, it's more. I'm telling you, it's more. This sounds like a conspiracy theory. But Embark increased it. I'm on to you, Oscar. I'm on to you, Robert. I'm on to you, boys.
Okay, next up we
check
have
it out for yourself. Bow. It's still a lot of fun.
B tier once again. Recurve bow is very similar to the sniper. Once again, going back to those weapons, it's like you have them on every single build, like one that's good at close range and one that's good at long range, but they can both kind of do the same thing to an extent. That's the recurve bow. Recurve bow and the sniper go hand in hand. Recurve is just going to be less punishing, generally speaking. However, sniper is going to beat it at range. That's really about it. So just imagine everything I said for the sniper, kind of the same for the bow. You have players that have used this in the pro scene, like Oppo. I think he's the main one that I can think of. So you can use it, and I think like this might be a huge. Hopefully I'm not overstepping here. I think I could probably have success with the sniper in the pro scene, but I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I would use LH1 if I wanted to like win-win. Maybe that's just me, man. I don't know.
But you would use the KS along with the revolver. Sure, combo. Sure. Okay, buddy.
But same things for the sniper, just better at close range. So bow goes in B tier. All right, we have the pike, my favorite weapon in the game. Honestly, it's probably.
Is he serious about that? I mean, I liked it, but it's not the best weapon ever.
The sniper now, but this was my iconic weapon. You know how every YouTuber has their weapon? This was mine.
No, it's not. It's a sniper. Wait, who else is a sniper? Wait, let me know in the comments. Well, one, that you actually made it this far. Thank you guys so much if you guys made it this far. But this thing, this is not your iconic sniper, dude. Well, see, there we go. It rolled off the tongue, man. The sniper is your iconic weapon. It's the double barrel of the neon cuts. It's the repeater of the sanguine. It's the sledge of the chunk. It's your weapon, dude. The sniper, not the pike. What are you talking about?
This was my weapon, man.
No, it wasn't.
Fucking killed it, so it's going in D tier.
He's joking. There's no way he's not.
No, I'm joking. It's actually really not too bad. I'm pissed that they reverted the headshot buff, especially after.
Dude, I have a friend who mains light, and he was pissed that it was in the game, period. I think they should have kept it, and not to the extent of where it was at. 96 headshot damage was ridiculous. It was a lot of fun, but it was ridiculous. If they made it to like 80, a little bit higher than what it was before, I think it'd be good. I think it's still at 75. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't used it since. I've used it once in customs back when the glitch was still going on, so I don't really have any valid opinions on it. Actually I do. You guys already heard it earlier in the video. This thing is still very. If he's probably gonna put it in A tier, but he might put it in B tier. I don't know. Well,
They buff the LH1.
let's let him finish.
You fuckers. And Embark. Why would you do that? But jokes aside, don't give me hope. I'm gonna stick the Pike in B tier now. After the nerf.
Putting this next to the KS. I'm gonna keep mentioning this until he actually says something about it in the comments below. Yeah, I know he's watching this. He's the one who gave me the idea of reacting to this video. Stupid video. But no, he better revert his change. Putting the Pike next to the KS is a war crime. That is absurd. There is no way he's doing that. Next to the Cerberus, dude, there is no way you're doing that. You're going to see this probably in 20-30% of teams. It seems like you're going to see these in. You're going to see that bad boy in at least one team. You're not going to see the KS in any teams in comp. Mark my words, dude. There's no way you're putting the Pike next to the KS.
Right.
Nuh-uh.
You have to land all.
Oh wait, 1 second, dude. Can I can't. Okay. This is your signature weapon, Mr. Level 2. Level 2 Pike. Yeah, okay, buddy.
Before the 3-tap on light was very oppressive, I'll be completely honest with you.
And I was surprised. I was surprised that your sniper was only level 5. And you're saying the Pike's your signature weapon when it's level 2. No. I know you're sad about it. You even said Rip Pike in my comments on the Season 8 overview. I know you like the weapon, but the sniper's your man, dude. You gotta own it. Gotta own it, my man.
But it was kind of your only means of survival against other builds. I think what people missed on this nerf, everybody was focused on light, but the Pike was never super oppressive against the other builds. Now that Pike takes an extra shot, basically every other rifle in the game is going to beat it at close range. Even if you're landing headshots, because if the opponent is also landing headshots, you're going to lose now. And that's why I wish they would revert that headshot change. Maybe they're just playing with it and forgot to take it off live. But please, Embark, just if you want to de-incentivize people to stop spamming body shots, right? You could take the damage down to like 40. I'm not even kidding. If you take the weapon damage of this down to 40 and gave it that 2x headshot, that would be fine. You know, just I don't really understand the balancing mentality here. Was the Pike a problem against lights?
Yes.
Was it annoying?
Yes.
Don't necessarily agree with how they nerfed it.
Yes.
Just my personal opinion. But those are my takes on it. Once again, biggest reason this is going down, now that the Titan exists and you have these other weapons like the LH1 that are just going to absolutely fucking murder this weapon, it's going in B tier. Okay.
Sorry to say, Combo, your personal opinion's wrong. Hey, I'm going to keep mentioning it. It's next to the KS. That is terrible. That is the hottest take I've ever seen in my life. This is hotter than my stove right now. It's not even on. Okay. Yeah, well, you know what I mean. The Pike isn't bad. It's not B tier. I think it's A tier. I don't think it's S tier anymore, but I think it's A tier. The reason why I think that, like, sure, the rifles are better close to mid-range, but if there still might be some teams running the same kind of loadout that that was happening in Season 7, where the heal beam isn't really being a thing. The DMAT still might be used. I'm curious to see if that does happen with the nerfs with the DMAT. But I could still see some teams running the Pike instead of the FAMAS still, and playing range and having the lights still stick up close to the heavy. But the BFR in the game, which I still think is going to be up here, it's better than the Shack in my opinion. It's going to decimate light, and there's a lot of risk in having light in the front lines. But I could still see the Pike being used in those longer range attacks against the LH. Especially with that new scope. That new scope is sexy, my man. That's a very good looking scope. It's better than any other scope on LH, in my personal, very correct opinion, honestly. Let's be real, guys. If you're this far into the video, you'd like my takes. There we go. I said it.
Okay, next up we have the
It's
repeater.
not bad.
I'm going to stick this one in A tier. I'm going to be honest, guys. This is essentially just the Titan, but it's on the medium.
Yeah.
I do think the repeater is better at range, just because I think, in my opinion, you have more rounds. It shoots a little faster, I believe. I could be wrong on that one. I just think it's easier to land headshots with, generally speaking. Also, I've been using the repeater for longer than I have the Titan, so I definitely have to lab
Obviously,
that more.
Just came out.
But, you know, players like Sanguine, and even like, you know, Sanguine, I think he gets a lot of credit for being like the CB guy. But I think you're going to see a lot of pros kind of swap over to this weapon. He gets to experience how I felt when everybody started using the Pike and said it was annoying. Now it's going to happen to you, Sanguine. No, I'm joking. But the repeater, yeah, it's just a super powerful weapon. Now that they buffed the damage, it's much better against heavies, which was its biggest weakness. kind of the reason the model even had relevance, in my opinion, in the past. Once again, I could be talking out of my ass there, but just my opinion. So all things considered, CB is going to be going into A tier. Next up,
S tier. Dude, I still think it's S tier. If I'm saying the BFR Titan should be an S tier, the CB should definitely be an S tier as well. It's the same exact situation with the BFR Titan. Better reload, better, even at the latter half of that magazine, you just smack in like 5 rounds. I think that's a really cool feature. I'm glad they added that in instead of just making it 1, 2, 3, you know. The CB should be S tier. If I'm putting the BFR in S tier, the CB should be an S tier. The buff didn't make it, like, sure, it didn't really need the buff. It was perfect the way it was for players like Sanguine. But 4 extra damage is nothing to scoff at. It's a buff, man. I think they really want these. I think Embark really just wants people to play at range. They want to switch up the meta to where it's range and range only, which is why I don't think the double barrel should be up there. Which is why I don't think the Shack should be up there. You know, they should. The Shack should be at A tier, and the double barrel should be B tier, and then like half of these should be D tier. Okay, those are my takes. The P90, I could low A tier. Minigun. I have no opinion on the minigun. I just see Busy play with it every now and then. That's the only opinion I have on it.
Up, we have the CL40, and I'm going to stick this one in B tier. A lot of people are like, Combo, are you insane? CL40 is good, but now that the self-damage is...
Well, insane because of what? Good or bad? Because I could see people saying it's really good if you're a casual. But the more I play with it, I thought it was really annoying, but it's easy. It gets easier and easier to counter. All you have to do is just stick up close, you hug him, which is 100% going to say. There's no way he doesn't. He just mentioned the self-inflict damage nerf that it got. You hug him, you win. Sure, you might die, but they also die too. In Faye thing, if you're heavy and they're just shooting you when you're hugging them, they're going to die and you don't even have to shoot. You win the fight without even lifting a finger. So in a comp, it should be D tier. Honestly. Well, yeah, D tier. There's so many counters to the grenade launcher that's it's hard to say that it's anything else.
Back to where it was before. Yeah, it's just not as good. 5 shots, not great. DPS is very inconsistent. In a game like the finals where there's already so many inconsistencies,
is key.
You want weapons that are going to work 100% of the time exactly how you expect it. CL40 is one of those weapons where it's either S tier because your positioning is fantastic and your opponents have no counterplay, or it's like D tier because you're fighting a bunch of people who are keeping range and you can't even get close to them.
They added a longer range sniper to heavy. They buffed a medium to long range semi-automatic sniper essentially to light. Oh, man, they buffed another sniper. They nerfed the one that would have absolutely destroyed anything in its path, sure. This is going to be a longer range meta. That's why this thing should be D tier, and he just said it himself.
Or maybe it's a double barrel light and they hit you with one shot and you blow yourself up. I don't know, man. CL40, in my opinion, has never really been that annoying. So for that reason,
there's just counters. It's always been annoying. But
next up, we have the MGL32, and I'm gonna stick this one. Oh, I don't know if it's C or D tier. I'm gonna put it in D tier, man.
We all know the MGL is the worst gun in the game.
It's a little more than niche, in my opinion. Yeah, people like Truce and Andrewstown, the goats, can make this weapon work, but even those guys aren't gonna use this thing in a grand major. Let's be dead ass here. I think here's my thought, right? Here's my theory. After the Grand Major happens, I see this weapon getting a huge glow up, and it's...
Man, this is what I mean by it's the developers are siding with comp too much. That's the only reason this thing has been reworked. Same thing with the spear, same thing with pretty much every other melee weapon. Maybe even the throwing knives, you never know. That's the only reason. They're catering so much to the competitive audience that they don't even care about the cool ones that are actually paying them up crap ton of money. Casuals.
It's going to be like one of the most abused weapons in the game. That is my futuristic combo take. Take it or leave it.
Honestly,
As it stands now,
so.
though, this weapon needs
That'd be
something.
fun.
My thought was maybe make it so you can change between like gas grenades or sticky grenades, or the big thing it needs is utility. Because once a player gets in your face, other than charge and slam, you don't got many options. It can be really good, once again, in very niche scenarios, especially now, something people don't even think about. With the new destruction in the finals, the biggest weakness to the MGL is shit flying everywhere. And shit is flying everywhere more than ever. So, yeah,
which is
even
awesome.
worse for the MGL now. So I'm going to be sticking that thing in D tier. Okay, next up we have the Dagger. I'm going to stick this one in niche tier.
Yeah.
Dagger's good. Not as
on the
good
MGL.
as, obviously, most of the other weapons in the game. You do have the ability to one-tap every single build in the game. Yes, I'm counting heavies because the quick melee after the backstab, unless they get healed, which I could be wrong. Okay, so you can one-tap everybody but heavy because the healing is so prevalent now. I've seen players backstab heavies and they get out-healed before the quick melee can go off. So, once again, that is a thing there. But when things like the double barrel exist, I mean, come on, man. It's not even fair. When things like the double barrel, even now with the, if they miss that backstab, like, I don't even need to talk about this, man. There's just so many things. A good dagger player, this is kind of like the MGL situation. There are people who can do some amazing things with the dagger, but it's just so limiting, man. So melee in general, man, is going in C tier.
So does that mean he's just gonna put sword, C, dual blades? Dual blades is worse than riot shield, so it's probably gonna go in D. Sledgehammer, I want Sledgehammer to be B, just because of the one-shot capabilities and some combo capabilities for, yeah, all the other classes. Spear D, throwing knives C, and then flamethrower C. That's my preferred outcome.
Okay, next up we have the sword. I'm also going to stick it in C tier. I think
Yeah.
these weapons are very similar now. Fortunately, the sword can
No.
now kill a light with the lunge combo again.
Which is good, but they're not similar in the way that I think he's going to say. The meta with dagger is dash 3 or 180 and then stab and then you one shot most players in the game. That's how it's used. And even if you don't one shot the heavy, which will happen if they're not if they're max health, you just quick combo. There you go. And at lower tier plays, dude, if you're a god with a dagger, you're gonna decimate most of the player base in this game. I hate the dagger because I don't see it as much as I thought I would have with this thing having one shot potential. But when you do see it, it's annoying. Not as annoying as like the CL40, but yeah.
Yippee. But also, they made the movement way worse. So
See, Sir Yellow Jacket, he was a lot of fun to watch with the sword. I don't think he quit the game. I think I saw a couple more finals videos with him in it. But he was pissed with a buff that was actually more of a nerf to the sword. The damage was increased. Yay, hippie, let's go. But this is a movement shooter. They nerfed the movement so dude. I played a little bit with I have a buddy who made a sword, like level 9 sword, something crazy. And I 1v1'd him and I beat him because he was so confused on why they would switch up the movement. Like the movement was absolutely atrocious. Like this was at post nerf, by the way. Sure, the damage is increased a bit, and if I guess you can try to play it a little bit more away from how they used to play with movement, but that's no fun. Why would they do that? So it's just another situation where Embark is catering towards competitive audience, even though the sword would have never, if they didn't nerf the movement, the sword wouldn't have been a viable pick and comp because of the longer range meta going on right now. So I don't see the point of them even getting rid of the movement at all. So at least
I don't know what their mentality is for the sword, man. It's frustrating. I'm gonna be honest.
I should have let him finish, damn it.
Yes, season 1, this weapon was very OP. I'm gonna be so straight up.
Oh my god, I should have let him finish.
At season 1, when the game first came out, the sword was ridiculously OP, dude. But yeah, we're a long time from there. And RIP Swordmans, it definitely can still be useful. I've actually seen a few pro players use this at the highest levels of play, but
it's not good enough, man, for a $100,000 tournament. Nah.
I think it occupies the niche tier, man. I don't even have words for it. I don't even think I'm qualified enough to really give insight on the sword. This weapon is that difficult to balance. So for those reasons, man, sword is going to be going in C tier. Next up, we have the dual blades, and yeah, this is the worst weapon in the game. It's just a worse riot shield. They did buff it slightly, so now you can sprint faster. So you can.
I prefer it more than the riot shield.
Hopefully die faster, because that's what happens when you use this weapon. Dual blades are a joke. I don't understand what the mentality is behind these.
I think they should rework the dual blades. I don't even know. I've used the dual blades. I made a video on it. You guys should check that one out too. A lot of videos I'm mentioning. Maybe you guys should watch them. Let's be honest. You guys made this far into the video. You've definitely watched them by now. The dual blades are in a very weird spot to where they're basically the riot shield but worse. They have bleed damage. If you're blocking, you're deflecting them, but the desync in the finals is so atrocious. You're not going to be hitting any shots with the reflection, whatever. So if they fix the desync, which is going to be next to impossible to do, kind of like the kill cam, they can make it better, but they can't fix it completely, which I get. I'm not going to fault Embark for that. But that's one of the reasons. That's just another reason why they should just do something with the weapon specifically and not the desync. They should fix the desync, but they should also cater to the melee people. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe like base the game around the casual audience. You know, the people that are actually paying you. I don't know.
They just need a full rework. I'm not gonna go.
Actually, I do know, but I just don't know why they're not doing it.
Too far into it.
Actually, I do know why they're not doing this, because there's $100,000 on the line.
If you use dual blades, you are either a masochist or one of the most skilled players in the game, and you can't tell me that you would not do better with literally just about any other weapon in this game. So for that reason, dual blades are just, yeah. The only reason I don't put them in like an F tier of their own is because sometimes when the deflect works, you can like block shots for your teammates, and that's about it. So anyways, dual blades is going in D tier. All right, next up we have the riot shield. Why did they, guys? Okay, I'm gonna rant.
They nerfed and buffed, and then they buffed it to the extent where I didn't agree with it, and a lot of people didn't agree with what I was disagreeing with. But the hitbox I now see is what is the main issue still, even though they kind of fixed it, quote, with the bunny ears again. You know, they're flopping around again. There's still some room for improvement with the hitbox, guys. But they nerfed the swing again, so it's like it was just like a one night stand with a riot shield for half a season for some reason. I don't get it.
The finals
almost like they have a lot of money coming
people in this game hate melee. Let's be honest, the devs hate melee sometimes. People hate melee, right? A lot of people are like, "Oh, fucking melee weapons don't deserve in my arena shooter." I'm just like, dude, god damn it. I don't want to make the whole thing of like go play COD, because that's been said too many times. But stop nerfing shit that doesn't need nerf. Like, yes, it was annoying with the visual bug, but making it so the lunge range isn't as long and shit like that, it's like,
I thought they got completely rid of it.
I don't know. People will argue that this weapon just needs a full rework. I don't even think that, man. I don't know. Like, my thought was like, okay, let me play devil's advocate for a minute here. So here's my thought with Riot Shield and what people don't like. If you are fighting a Riot Shield player and they are blocking in front of your face, what if, and this is a crazy take, this was my thought on how to change this weapon. You could say the same thing for the dual blades if you wanted to. Of course, if you did this, you'd have to buff the weapon. If a dual blades or a Riot Shield player is walking up to you and they are blocking, if you quick melee their shield while they're blocking, it forces them into a recovery animation and they can't block for like 2 seconds. And then it
2 seconds seems a little long, but I like that mechanic actually. That's a cool idea.
Forces the fight in a non-turtling fashion.
There's that, but I feel like a good Riot Shield player doesn't even block half the time. They just walk they walk to the side a bit, and then they use the shield in the running animation to block instead. That's my biggest issue with it. I don't really think it should be as prevalent as it still is, even after the nerfs. So, I don't know. I might get blasted in the comment section like I did with my Riot Shield video. Hey, you guys know me by now that I don't really care. I love hearing your opinions, and if they're good enough, I might change my opinions like I did with the Riot. Okay, I'm going to stop mentioning the Riot Shield video. You guys know what I'm saying. You guys know.
Or maybe if you shoot their hand, they go into a stun state.
I like that idea too.
Damage. Once again, people hate shooting this, or people hate shooting dual blades and Riot Shield not doing damage. I'm just kind of spitballing right now on options that I have, but yeah.
Well, I like what's doing now. 2 shots. I kind of feel like it should do especially with the LH1 not being buffed like crazy. The Riot Shield should be able to hit once, maybe a little slower of an attack, sure, and then a quick combo, and then they're dead. And then no more quick combos for medium and heavy. Just do a 2-shot, or not 2-shot, a 3-shot for the heavy, or for a medium, and then maybe a 3-shot and a quick melee for the heavy. That's how I think it should be played. Dual blades just buff the third attack, the X attack, and then there you go. It's immediately better, at least with the attacks, with the damage. There's a lot of things they can do with it, Riot Shield. I mentioned some ideas in that video that I've mentioned like 5 times at this point. Combo here is bringing up more good answers to this problem. Embark, man. Know your audience.
Riot Shield, it's still better than dual blades. You can still have success with it, even after the nerf, but not competitively. So for me, C tier, very niche pick. Next up, we have the Sledgehammer, and I'm going to put this one in B tier.
Okay.
Sledgehammer still is just so... What's killing the Sledgehammer right now is the inconsistency. It did get a few buffs last season, so that was nice. I think this is still the best melee weapon in the game by far, only because
not even close.
Literally, that's the only reason this weapon is like even some.
Well, I don't know, man. The goo gun actually does some pretty crazy work with the sledgehammer. I have a buddy who is going back and forth between spear, sledgehammer, and dual blades. He's swear buying them every single one of them are meta at this point. But he's doing, dude. If you run against a competent goo gun sledge player, you're gonna hate yourself. You're gonna hate them and yourself. So goo gun has a place. I feel like not in competitive, obviously, but in the game itself, people are sleeping on that bad boy.
Somewhat viable, and the fact, of course, that you can break walls. This is still one of the easiest weapons to terraform the map with. So those are the only things keeping the sledgehammer really viable. You can still one-shot a light with the heavy attack, which is cool. But what's
time takes too long.
Funny now is a lot of the weapons, including the BFR, they actually out DPS the sledgehammer at close range, which is just baffling to me. I hear people argue a lot, but you have infinite melee or infinite ammo when you have melee.
You have infinite ammo on every gun. You just have to press R every once in a while.
Yes, but you also have no range, so I don't know, man. Once again, sledgehammer going in B tier. RIP, Hyper, and the Chonk. You will be missed. Okay.
My Chonk. I know you've been sick, but this just sealed your fate, bro.
Next up, we have the Spear. I'm going to stick this one in C tier. In my opinion, right?
I love the Spear, but it's right next to the MGL. I'm sorry, combo.
Spear is just a worse sledgehammer. If this was Power Shift, of course, I'd put it in S tier. I don't have a lot to say. If you miss the heavy attack, you're just dead. Like, put simply. I don't understand why Embark is not giving us an option to cancel the heavy attack. People are like, but you can emote.
It's an exploit.
Embark has stated that apparently if you start utilizing text like that, where you use an emote to cancel the spear swing, that's something you could get banned for.
What? You're kidding me. And I was giving them a little bit of leeway because of this. I was like, okay, they're not getting rid of it because they're working on another way to cancel the attack in the first place. I'm gonna have to fact check that. I trust combos, so I'm going to agree with it for now. There's no way. I love the Spear, and if they do anything to my baby, and if I get banned for using a trash weapon because I think it's fun, dude, that's actually insane. That might be worse than the clan attack fiasco I mentioned on stream a little bit ago. Yeah.
So don't fucking do it. You might get banned. Just putting that out there. Rants aside, man, Spear just needs, really all it needs, man, is, I think it needs a rework. I think it steps on the sledgehammer's toes way too much. You need a way to cancel the heavy attack, or the heavy attack just needs to get changed completely.
Yep.
My thought was letting the player throw the spear. And then
yes! Combo, I love you. I don't care that I disagreed with you like half this time. Oh my gosh, man. Thank you for hiring me.
You pull it back like a winch claw. I don't know, man. I don't have too many ideas for the spear, but it definitely needs a change. Not as bad as the dual blades, and can be good. It can do a lot of damage, but not very often. So for me, spear is going in C tier. Next up, we have the throwing knives. I'm going to stick these in the B tier. Once again, throwing knives are kind of niche. They're damage, though. Let me put this right. The burst damage on the throwing knives is insane, but what's holding them back is simply the fact that they are a projectile weapon. And even if you're good with that secondary attack, I don't see pros using throwing knives. Once again, double barrel, 93R, and there's just so many options that beat out throwing knives. And once again, sometimes, man, especially with the environment always like breaking and shit going everywhere, and sometimes throwing knives just not registering, like a lot of no rigs with throwing knives. A lot of people hate these weapons. They think they're brainless. I don't really agree with that too much myself. I think they're in a good spot. I don't think they're OP. I think they could maybe use a slight increase to their projectile speed.
Here's the thing. If people are saying that the throwing knives are a brainless weapon, like the sledgehammer, like a lot of other melee weapons, they've never used the throwing knives. I've used them and I have some success, but dude, those things are hard. Those things are really hard to play well.
I know, crazy take. I'll shut up. But, you know, throwing knives for me, that's going to go in B tier. And then finally, we have the flamethrower, which I'm going to stick into C tier. The big reason is this is kind of the same situation as something like, for instance,
another brainless weapon,
the minigun, where the flamethrower can be good, but most pros know how to play around it. It doesn't do damage fast enough. That's the biggest thing. This is kind of like the CL40, except you don't have the destruction component and you don't have the range aspect. A lot of trades with the flamethrower. And sometimes you get a really good combo where you throw a pyromine with the flamethrower and kill like the whole team, and it's super cool. Most of the time though, you just get outranged. Weapons are going to be better at closer range. You have things like the SA-1216, which are going to kick this thing's ass. The BFR kicks this thing's ass. The minigun kicks this thing's ass. Do I need to keep going here? And you could argue, but combo the winch claw. Well, other than the minigun, the winch claw is going to work better with every other weapon. So for those reasons, man, it is good against lights. I'll say that. But every gun is good against lights. 150 health. Other than precision weapons. I'll quit ranting. But besides that, man, flamethrower for me is going to be going in C tier.
I have some buddies that are in love with the flamethrower, and probably because they don't have much skill, but I'm not going to say that in front of them.
Anyways, everyone, I do hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully I didn't rant too much. We did go on to like
Well, this is a explanation video. You're allowed to rant.
40 minutes, but oh well, man. I want to make sure this is the ultimate tier list as advertised in the thumbnail. So once again, give me your opinions on these rankings. What would you change? What would you keep the same? Do you think I'm insane? And do I have any business talking about this? The answer is yes.
Oh, Combo, you're going to hate this video. This is the ultimate form of giving my opinion, buddy.
I'm the ultimate authority.
No, you're not.
On all things balancing, because
It's me.
did the quick tip videos. But jokes aside, people, hopefully you enjoyed this. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Please don't attack people. It's the internet. I understand I can't control that.
Oh. I might have to just completely scrap this video. I can't attack people.
I want this to be a place of discourse and not discord.
That also goes with the guys down in my comment section. If anything, I'm the person attacking other people by just saying, no, you're wrong. But if I do see anything like that going on down the place down under, then I'm not going to be a very happy camper. My goal for this channel is to be a place of communication, of expressing your opinion. Everyone has a valid opinion, even the doofus who put the KS next to the pike. Everyone has a right to their own opinion, and that's what I hope this channel does. I wanted to bring out good, bad opinions in my eyes. My opinions might be bad in your eyes, but I still hope you respect my opinions and everyone else's opinions down in the comments. And if you don't respect them, man, like if you think they're just dog trash and you say some dumb shit, dude, I'm gonna blow up, bro. And that's not even. Don't get me started.
Or Reddit. See what I did there? The social media
Everyone has the right to their own opinion, even in video games.
platforms. So funny, dude. All right. Thank you so much for coming and watching. This has been Combo. Stay home, stay safe. I love all of you. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon.
Oh, he loves us. But that goes for you guys too. You guys are legends, especially if you stayed this long. Thank you guys for clicking on the video. Again, leave me your guys' thoughts down in the comments, guys. That is the best part of the video every single time. You guys have a good one. I'll see you guys later. Oh, maybe we should play
Soon. Later.
See you later too. All right, see you guys.